Rosa, hola, bienvenida. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
First of all, hilarious because you didn't realize I was going to be here in the Dallas area.
No, I didn't. I was so excited when you invited me. I said yes right away.
Yeah.
And then a few days later, you sent me the address, and it was like, oh,
No takebacks.
Dallas.
No takebacks.
Oh.
No retracting. So thank you so much for taking the time. I know the commute right now, especially at the time we're here, is a little difficult, but I appreciate you so much. I think it's going to be wonderful for the community to know what you do, the work you do, and just in general, your story, okay? But first, we're going to go ahead and get to a segment that I like to call Preguntas al Chile. If you have not subscribed to the channel, now is the time to do so. Why? You have amazing stories like Rosa that we're about to talk about, and you have nothing to lose and amazing things to gain. ¿Estás lista? Are you ready?
I am ready. Let's do this.
Tacos o tortas?
Oh, my God. Always tacos.
Corn tortilla or flour tortilla?
Corn.
Tacos al pastor o carne guisada?
Really? That's an easy one. It's always al pastor.
Al pastor tacos. Gorditas o tortas?
Oh, I like gorditas.
Jarritos de qué sabor?
I like the ponche.
The punch? Oh, interesting. Agua de horchata, jamaica o agua de tamarindo?
Horchata.
Salsa verde or salsa roja?
Green. Always green.
Always green. I like it. Tomatillo goes hard for me. Love it. Barbacoa de cabeza o camarones a la diabla?
The barbacoa.
Barbacoa.
For sure.
They're very Brownsville. Some of these dishes are very popular over there from what I looked up. Menudo o pozole?
Menudo.
Valentina, do you do the menudo with the pan or with the tortilla or the tostada?
The tortilla.
Tortilla. Valentina, tapatio, chalula, or hot sauce? Any of those?
Valentina.
Valentina. Churros or flan?
Flan.
When you want to celebrate an amazing, whatever you did, victory, when you plan to go dance, if you dance or in the car or at the house, salsa, merengue, cumbia, bachata.
Ooh, I like tejano.
Tejano.
Yeah.
Ooh, I thought about it too.
Yeah.
I swear that in my mind it came when I was getting ready. I'm like, I should throw tejano in here. I already knew the answer, by the way. I don't know why. I'm kind of like clairvoyant. This is way different, but I like that you have a sense of humor, so hopefully you can entertain it. A conspiracy theory that when you heard one time, you're like, ooh, that could be true. Or like, that might be true. Anything that comes to mind?
Conspiracy theory. Can we revisit that in a little bit? I have to think about that.
Absolutely, absolutely. When you hear the word Latino, Latina, Latinx, what is the very first things that come to mind to you?
I think beauty. Beautiful. It's a beautiful culture, beautiful food.
Absolutely.
Beautiful music, beautiful celebrations. It's just so beautiful.
Amazing. Do you consider yourself Latina? Do you care if they call you Latina, Mexican American, Chicana? What's your preference for you?
I call myself Latina, but I identify with all those.
Okay, awesome. So, anything pop into mind regarding the conspiracy theory? You have extraterrestrials, you have mermaids, you have Sasquatch, you have whatever else is out there, or even miracles. I'm open to whatever. If you have anything, if not, we'll move on.
Yeah, let's move on.
Awesome.
I can't think of one right now.
Okay, so is there a particular disclaimer that an attorney has to say when we have an interview that this is not legal advice? Is that like a thing that you're supposed to say or not necessarily?
Well, it depends. It depends.
On the
That's
question.
what we always say. It depends. But it depends on the question.
Okay,
so
cool.
If you have general questions, I can answer. But if you're going to ask me about your neighbor, your tío, then I'm going to have to say, well, I'm not your attorney, but...
I got you. Okay, so Brownsville. As far as your recollection, what was your journey to your family here to the United States? Or as far as you know, they're always been here in Texas.
So my mom had 9 children, and I was number 6. I was born 6. And everybody older than me was born in Mexico.
Wow.
And then I and everyone that followed, we were born in this side of the border.
Nice.
So I remember when Amnesty came about, I was a little girl.
85.
And all my mom and all my older siblings applied for their green cards through that Amnesty program.
Awesome. I was one of the beneficiaries of it because my dad got an amnesty back in 85. That's how even though we got here illegally, we still got our residency through there many years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know where your mom originated from in Mexico?
So in Tamaulipas. Right there in Matamoros, right across the border from Brownsville.
Did y'all go back and forth at all as far as when you were growing up, your childhood? Not necessarily.
So I remember when I was around 14, when we were in high school, that was a thing. You know, we would go out on the weekends, like all the teenagers, and we would go across the border at night to go to the clubs. It was $5 cover charge.
At 14 years old,
at 14,
they let you in.
Yeah,
Wow.
And not just that, you would pay $5 to get in, and then it was all you can drink.
For $5.
For $5. Wow.
Yeah.
And then during spring break, when all the college students would come down south to celebrate spring break, they would up it to $10.
Wow.
And we would be so mad because, like, what, $10?
They didn't give you local prices?
No.
What a shame.
Yeah.
You started working at 12 years old, washing dishes.
Yeah, that was my first job.
Why? How did the opportunity come about? Did your mom, like, for example, my dad didn't like me laying in the couch at 15, 14 years old, and he sent me to a mechanic shop to go work.
That's awesome.
So how about you? How did the opportunity come about? Who told you about the restaurant?
It was one summer, and my older sisters, Thelma and Alejandra, worked at a restaurant as servers.
Nice.
And one day, I don't know, they must have been shorthanded, and so they decided to take me with them. I was 12, and they put me in the back washing dishes. And I was so short that I had to step on a little stool to be able to reach the water. We didn't use dishwashers back then. It was like hand washing everything. And so I started washing dishes. And then one day they needed somebody to peel potatoes. And I was like, I can peel potatoes. And so I started doing more and more in that restaurant.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Did you stay there for a little while doing different jobs after you moved on to somewhere else?
I stayed there maybe like for the summer.
Nice.
Yeah, and then school started.
How advanced did you get? Chef prepping?
So I did get to serve one day.
What?
They did let me out of the kitchen one day, and I got to serve some coffee, and it was really scary because the coffee pot was really heavy and it was hot, but I did get to do that one
You get
time.
a tip that day at all?
No.
No tip?
No tip.
Man. I was just say quema. I'm just kidding. For not giving tips. 14 years old. First of all, school is like just happening for you. Not really nothing to think about. However, one of your friends mentions rankings, and all of a sudden something in your head is like, what is that?
Yeah, so I was always good at school. And I enjoyed it because I was good at it. And so one day when I was in high school, I'm sitting there in the courtyard during lunch, and I see one of my classmates. She's running across a courtyard, and there's like a group of kids that are running with her. And I stopped her, and I was like, where are you going? And she said, we're going to the counselor's office because rankings just came out. And I didn't know what that meant. And so I said, okay, well, I'll go with you. I tagged along. And back then, there was no privacy. Like, the rankings were posted on a sheet of paper on the counselor's door.
Like the wall of shame?
Yes, like the wall of shame at my office. So everybody's gathered around trying to find their name. And so she finds her name on there, and she's like, 45, yes. Like, she's so excited because she's number 45 of a class of over 500 students.
That's nice.
And so then I was like, oh, that's really cool. Congratulations. Still not understanding what that meant. And I was like, oh, I wonder if my name's on there. And so I finally make it up to the front of the line, and I look, and my name's on there, and it was like number 36. And I was like, oh, my name's on there. Yay, congratulations. And having no idea what that meant.
Right.
But I later found out that if you graduated in the top 10% of your class, you got automatic admission to any state school.
That's amazing.
And then I also learned that as I was going through high school, for every A that I got in one of my advanced courses, I was earning money that I could use to go to college if I wanted to go to college, which I'd never even thought about because like in our home, we prioritize working over getting an education. And we were pretty much allowed to drop out of school once we were old enough to work. So if we wanted to drop out, we could, as long as we did something. And so, but the reason I stayed in school was because when I was around 14, my mom moved away. And I kind of found myself homeless and just hopping around from place to place. And so if I went to school, I would get free breakfast and lunch. And so that was my motivation to go to school. I went there so that I could eat. And while I was there, you know, I was good at school. So I just, you know, did the work and kind of stayed under the radar.
Okay. Not to get too personal, but in 14 years old, she just decides to leave y'all behind and you have to figure it out?
So my mom lived a really hard life. You know, she had 9 children. She was a single mom and she was getting older and she wasn't going to be able to work, you know, forever. And so she met a really nice man that wanted to marry her, wanted to move her to Florida, which is where he was from. And so when she left, most of my older siblings were already out of the house. And so I was still at home with my younger siblings. And so she took my 2 youngest. And then for myself and my brother Juan, she left me with one older sister and Juan with the other older sister.
Okay.
But then the sister I was with moved away. And so then I had to go live with the oldest sister. And then it just didn't work out. And I just didn't want to be there. And so I left. And then after that, I just pretty much would couch surf, I think they call it.
Yes.
And until, you know, I'd stay with a friend until their parents would notice and they'd start asking questions like, hey, does your friend Rosie have to go home? Should we call her parents? What's going on? And that was kind of my cue to leave. Because if anybody found out, you know, the state was going to get involved and who knows what would have happened to me.
They were going to turn you in eventually. Is your father was in the picture at all? He was involved?
I never met my father until I was in my 30s.
Okay.
And he turned out to be a very, very nice man. He was very kind.
Okay. So single mom, you know, it's crazy enough, 9 kids to be able to, you know, not excusing, but kind of sort of see a way out. So do you still maintain a good relationship with your mom?
Yeah, my stepdad has passed away. After he passed away, she moved back to Texas. I do see her regularly. She lives in Dallas with one of my youngest sisters.
Awesome.
And so.
Awesome. Okay. How many years were you doing that? Where you would move to one friend to the other to where, and still kept it low key that nobody ever turned you in?
So I did it my sophomore year, my junior year, and then my senior year.
The whole 4 years?
Yeah.
Wow. And nobody ever caught you?
No adult ever figured it out.
Would you ever found yourself in the streets literally sleeping at all? Or
I never had to sleep in the streets. I always found a place to sleep.
Amazing.
And I always worked too because, you know, I needed money and I just made it work. And when I think about now, like, to me, that was just my life. I didn't know any different. But if I were to encounter a 14, 15, 16, 17, even an 18-year-old today living in that situation, like, I would know, hey, that's not normal. That's not right. Let's find you some help. But for me, that's all I knew.
What was the best advice that you would want somebody to tell you during that situation, or at least words of encouragement that it's going to be okay?
I don't know that I needed that at the time.
You were just executing. You just know that that's what you needed to do and move on.
Yeah.
Okay. You lunch was a very free lunch and everything was as an incentive for you, you know. So in high school, all that whole time. But when you get to college, you notice that's just not a thing anymore, right?
Right. So, and like I said, because, you know, nobody ever talked to me about, hey, college is your key to success. If you go to college, your life is going to change. I didn't know that.
Right.
And so once I graduated high school, and I found out I had this money that I could go to college with and I could get financial aid. So I went ahead and applied. And of course, I got in because I was guaranteed admission.
Nice.
So I started going to college. And it's so different because they don't give you free food in college. So for you to be in college, you have to want to be there.
Yeah.
And to me, I tried it. And I felt like, man, why am I sitting here learning about things I don't care about when I could be out there working and earning money so that I can buy the things I need? And so I ended up dropping out my first semester and then just started working.
Okay. Were you already working at the paralegal at the time? Was there another opportunity there?
No, I didn't start working in the legal industry until I moved out of Brownsville and came to the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Okay.
When I got here, one of my friends who encouraged me and a group to move up here, she was working as a receptionist at a law firm. And so she's like, yeah, there's a lot of jobs up here. It's a great economy. Y'all should move up here. There's more opportunity. So literally the day we arrive, she tells us that she's moving back to Brownsville. And so we're like, what? And but she got her law firm to hire me. Like, so I arrived to Arlington, and the very next day I had a job. And it was a job as a receptionist in a law firm. And for me, like, I had won the lottery, because to work in an office with air conditioning and a desk, like just sitting there all day, like I could do that all day long. I was used to like working on my feet. And so it was just such a blessing to be able to have that job.
Yeah, amazing. I remember when I was listening to some of the things you said. So it wasn't paralegal yet. It was whenever you were trying to move up, and they started seeing limitations because you didn't have a particular degree, certification, and that's where you kind of sort of got involved back in school. Is that correct?
Yes. And so I got my first job in an office at a law firm as a receptionist, and I did well. And so my boss promoted me. And then during that time, the paralegal profession was kind of new. And it was barely starting to be defined. And so you could be a paralegal by going to school and getting an associate's degree in paralegal studies, or a certificate in paralegal studies, or if your lawyer boss decided, you know what, you're a paralegal, that's your title.
Wow.
And so he did that for me, and I became a paralegal. And so I did all the paralegal work. I loved it. I was good at it. And then I ended up getting married, and I had my first son. And so I stopped working to have my son. But after about a year, I was just bored out of my mind. I wanted to go back to work. And so I started to apply for jobs in Dallas, because I had heard that that's where the big paying paralegal jobs are. And so I go and apply at a big law firm. They're hiring paralegals. And at my interview, the interviewer asked, like, oh, okay, I see here you're a paralegal, you're applying for the paralegal job. Where did you get your degree? And I said, I don't have one. And she's like, oh, okay, well, where did you get your certificate? And I said, I don't have that either. And she's like, I'm confused.
I'm an honorary paralegal.
Yeah, it says here you're a paralegal. And I said, well, yeah, but that's what I was doing. And then she was like, well, we can't hire you as a paralegal. We can hire you as a file clerk, and you can assist the paralegals, but to work here, you need to have a degree.
Wow.
And so that was the first time that I hit a wall, because I didn't have the proper credentials, the education. But she gave me the file clerk job, and because Dallas paid the big bucks, I was making more money than I never dreamed of. So I was pretty content being a file clerk. But then once they started realizing, like, oh, Rosie's bright, she's capable of doing more, they started giving me the paralegal work. I couldn't have the title, I couldn't have the paralegal pay, but I could do all the work. And so I thought, well, that just doesn't seem right. Like, if I'm going to be working as a paralegal, let me go get the degree so that I could be a full paralegal. And so while working full-time during the day, I started going to El Central College, and I got my associate's degree in paralegal studies. So I came back to HR, and I was like, here you go. I have my associate's degree now. And she was like, oh, that's great. But to work here, you also need a 4-year degree, because it was a big fancy firm and they didn't hire just anybody. And so then that forced me to continue to go to school and then achieve my 4-year degree so that I could finally become a paralegal.
How long was that of a journey for you?
Oh, for me, it was very long, because I didn't decide to go back to school for a lot of years. And also I was working full time and going to school part-time at night. But so even though, like, I had graduated from high school in 1994, I didn't get my bachelor's degree until I want to say maybe it was 2000. Yeah.
6 years so, más o menos?
No, that's wrong. That was when I got my associate's degree. I didn't get my bachelor's degree till 2005.
Okay.
Yeah, 2000. So it took me like 11 years.
Awesome. You got it done. Amazing. First of all, is there any particular feeling that you have whenever they tell you you can't do this job because you don't have the certification, it doesn't push you necessarily at that time, right, to want to go get it, right? Because it still give you an opportunity.
Yeah, at the time it didn't. It didn't motivate me because, it didn't motivate me because, like I said, like they gave me this other office job, and it was, I was working in a high rise in Dallas. They were paying me great money because, Dallas paid more than Arlington at the time. And so I was pretty content. Like I always had low standards, for things. Like I didn't really know how to dream big, right? So I never really had the dream like, oh, well, one day I'm going to be a paralegal just like them. I was just happy to be there.
Whenever you graduate 4 years, 11 years later, what is the feeling behind it? Is there anything? Are you kind of relieved? Like, oh my God, a little bit of liberty for yourself?
So to be honest, what really lit the fire under me, what made me que me ponga las pilas, was because my oldest niece was about to graduate high school.
Wow.
And I was like, holy smokes, like she might get a college degree before me. Like I need to do this. And so that kind of lit the fire under me. Like, okay, let me hurry up and just knock it out because I don't want my niece to graduate before me because like I wanted to be a role model for her.
Is it important for you to be that for your family?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because I want to show them that like you shouldn't set your standards low because you are capable of so much more. You just got to do it.
Awesome. There's a few particular things that happen for you to be able to make the decision to go an attorney. A FedEx literally almost changed your life and your career path as to what you wanted to do. Tell me the story.
So one day I was working at one of those big fancy law firms in downtown Dallas, and I was working in the corporate section, and we're closing a big deal. And so part of the closing is you have to sit there and wait for signature pages to come in. And, I was one of the few paralegals and just working late. And I see this associate attorney walking down the hall, kind of lost, looking for something. And associate attorneys from that firm, they're hired fresh out of law school. A lot of them have never had jobs. Like this is their first job, and it's a big job, a lot of responsibility, making tons of money. And so I see this associate walking down the hall, and he looks lost. And I asked him, like, do you need help? And he was like, well, I'm looking for a legal secretary. And by that time, I was a paralegal. I had the title now. And so I said, oh, I think they're all gone for the day, but tell me, what do you need? Maybe I can help you. And he's like, well, I really need a legal secretary because I need to send out this FedEx tonight, and I need them to fill out the label. And I was like, oh, that's easy. I can help you with that. And he goes, you know how to do that? And I said, you don't? I was shocked. I was so shocked that he has this years and years of education, and he couldn't do something so simple like that. And so I was like, yeah, I'll do it for you. And then I thought, man, I should go to law school because if he can do it, then I'm going to be excellent at it. And of course, it was more than that made me want to go to law school.
What else?
Whenever I do anything, and this is just not in the law, it's like anything, I always find ways of doing things better and doing more, right? And so just like when my first job at a law firm was a receptionist, I could do more. I was capable of doing more. So they promoted me to secretary. And then they saw that I could do more.
Right.
And so now I became a paralegal. And then I could do more, right? And so when I got to that goal of okay, now I'm a paralegal. I have my degree. I have my office. I have the business card. I have the title.
Right.
And I felt like this is good, but I could do more. And so the next step was going to be go to law school because you can't go beyond that without a law degree.
At a moment of time, you have a mindset of limitation or satisfied, but then all of a sudden, even though you could do more, there's still not a big push until. Is there any thoughts that are going through your mind to, or besides that incident with that gentleman that makes you want to push, let me go ahead and I can do more, and I can go ahead and go and do this attorney thing?
I just feel like whenever you have like gifts from God, it's your responsibility to use them and use them wisely and not let them waste. Gotcha. And so when I get the feeling of like, hey, I can do this, I could do it better, I could do it bigger, I could do more, I feel like I'm obligated to do it. And I feel like that's been like something that's been present like my entire life.
Awesome. How is it that you structure your day? Let's take me to a couple of days during your time as you're working full-time still and going to law school. You're doing both at the same time. How is it that you get to structure your day? And you still have kids and a husband. So do you even remember those days?
Yeah. So this is a funny story. When I was a kid, like little in elementary school, I had this crazy habit of like, creating a calendar for myself, like a schedule in the summer. And it was very detailed. I had a clipboard, I had a sheet of paper and a pencil, and I would put on there 8 a.m. wake up, 8:01 stretch, 8:03 get out of bed, 8:04 brush my teeth, like 8:07 make the bed. Like I enjoyed time management. And so I would create, like I would put time to eat, time to go to the restroom, time to play outside. Everything was in that schedule. And so when you go to law school, one of the very first classes that you have to take is time management. And they teach you how to do what I did as a kid. Like, like manage your time. And I remember sitting in that class thinking like, oh my God, like I've been preparing for this my whole life. And then the other thing that they taught us was in law school, you create an outline. Every course you take, they call it an outline. And what it is basically like you write notes for the entire semester and you're creating your own like outline of the course. And that's what you use to study for the exam. And as a kid, I had this like habit of outlining my textbooks. I don't know why. We didn't have to. Nobody asked us. But as I would read, I would outline my textbooks. And I just enjoyed being organized and having that. And so when they taught us that, I was like, oh, like I've been doing outlines my whole life. So it was just crazy. Like such a perfect like fit for me. And so time management, in answer to your question, is so important, and you have to, it's your most precious resource. Once you give it away, you can't get it back. And so I am very strict about my time. Like I budget every minute of my day, a little bit over obsessing, to be honest, but even my staff knows that calendar has to be tight, because that is what tells me where I need to be, when I need to be there. And so I think time management is something that everyone needs to learn and be able to do in order to be productive and be able to do all the things you want to do.
Absolutely. Do you ever disconnect from your calendar every so often and just like put it down and like maybe on the weekend, on a Saturday?
I disconnect when it's on my calendar that it's time to disconnect. Okay. So even like the downtime, yeah, of course. Like I put in there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where did you pick the habit of you already scheduling from little?
I don't know.
You remember where you got it from?
I don't remember if I saw it somewhere, but I enjoyed it. I loved it so much.
I got a little bit of goosebumps to think that everything that you had done previously before got you lined up to where you're doing now.
And I didn't even know it.
Right?
Yeah.
It's amazing. There's a couple of things that happened that you decided to go into immigration law, a couple of events. One of them was your brother called you very late when you were getting ready to take some finals and to go help him out. And you ran into a lady that apparently she only spoke Spanish.
Yes.
The person in the other side, even though she's getting louder, didn't speak any Spanish, so that didn't help. But pretty much the gentleman was detaining and she didn't know what to do. She wanted to wait, and you kind of sort of helped her out a little bit. It's like, hey, you're going to have to get an attorney. That's one of them. And then the other one was you working for a church and kind of sort of seeing that part. Is that correct as far as what made you decide to go into immigration?
Yeah, that's exactly, absolutely correct. So when you go to law school, one of the questions is like, oh, what kind of law are you going to practice, right? People will ask you that before they even ask you your name. That's like the conversation starter. Yeah. And everyone that I encountered, I felt like they already had their whole life's plans. Like, oh, my dad is a criminal lawyer. I'm going to go work for him. Or, oh, I'm going to go into sports law. Like, everybody had a plan.
You didn't have it in the calendar?
I didn't have that. I didn't have that in the calendar. Not yet. But I did have faith that when the time was right, like, it was going to be revealed to me. And so, and it wasn't that I couldn't find anything that I loved. It was that I couldn't find anything that I didn't love. Like, every class was so exciting to me. Like, property law, tort law, contracts, like criminal law. Like, I loved it all. And I felt that, like, by committing to one area, it meant that I was rejecting all these other areas. And I couldn't do that because I loved them all. And so I just decided, you know what? I'm not going to worry about it anymore. It's going to happen at some point. I will figure it out. And I did. At the very end of my last semester, that's when I figured it out.
All right. So what was that about that event and seeing that lady and her frustration that kind of sort of like, this is the path that I need to go?
Because like I told you, I feel like we all have gifts and we have to be responsible with them. We have to use them. We can't waste them. I'm of the belief that our gifts are not for us, they're for others. Right. And so I felt at that moment when I was standing there waiting for my brother to get out, because, and just to be clear, my brother's not a criminal. He had forgotten to pay. He forgot to pay a ticket and turned to warrant. So he got arrested.
Thank you for clarifying, by the way. Sorry, brother. I forgot that on the story. Yeah. Thank you.
And so while I was waiting there, this woman is waiting for her husband. She paid the bond. She's waiting for her husband to get out. And he's not getting out because he has an immigration hold. And the woman couldn't understand that because she didn't speak English. And so she just said, okay, I wait. And then she sat down. Well, she would have waited all night. And so I went up to her and, I was a law student, even though I thought I knew everything. Law students in reality don't know everything. And so I went and I explained to her what was happening. I couldn't help her at the time, but I helped her enough so that she could understand and she could go home and she could wait at home instead of just there. And so I just felt like I was there to see that. And that is kind of what pushed me in the direction. I feel like I could do good here. I could do good here because I'm bilingual. I could do good here because I understand immigration, seeing my family go through the Amnesty program. I could do good here because I grew up on the border. I would see people get deported and then hop back the very next day or that afternoon. And so I just felt like I had everything that I needed to do well in that area.
My dad and I were talking on Father's Day, and we're calling back in the 90s because immigration was still the redadas back then. And he told me a story that, immigration will show up, they take 13 people, and then next week 30 will be back. And I just I thought it was hilarious because there is a lot of research that get used, but there's still so many, at that time, there was so many people coming in still that even when you took 13, 30 will show up the next week.
Yeah, things were so different back then. Yeah.
Okay. There's you're working for a church, also helping them. You were doing some of your hours that you needed to do. That kind of sort of helped you a little bit to more of understand immigration?
Yes. So in order to graduate, you needed to do a certain number of pro bono volunteer hours in law. And I hadn't done my hours because I was working full-time Monday through Friday and going to law school at night and on the weekends. So there was no hours left in the day to do my requirement. And so one of my friends, who's also an immigration attorney, her name's Veronica Garza, she was working at Catholic Charities at the time. And she tells me, well, we're open Saturdays. Why don't you come and volunteer here? And you could do your hours that way. And so I started going there, and I would work on U visas. U visas are for victims of violent crimes in the U.S. That report the crime, that cooperate with the investigation to help hopefully arrest and prosecute the people that commit these horrible crimes. And as part of the process, they are able to apply for a U visa, which will allow them to live here and work here in the United States legally.
Awesome.
And so I was helping families deal with those types of cases. And it was very rewarding. It was very rewarding to see families be able to take something tragic and, not erase it, but have something positive come out of it in spite of the trauma and the pain.
Awesome. Once you do everything, you graduate law school, you get accepted and you graduate. You went to law school at Wesley?
Yes. Back then, Texas Wesleyan had a law school. And shortly after I graduated, Texas A&M bought it. And so now it's Texas A&M School of Law.
Awesome. When you graduate, everything's said and done. You've passed your bar test. Everything's said and done. What is the feeling behind whenever you feel like you did it? You've passed everything. You're about to be an attorney.
It was nice to be able to throw away my Barbary books. So I have like this stack of books that I used to study for the bar exam. Mm-hmm. And when I took the exam, I took it in February. Mm-hmm. And we don't find out for 3 months if we pass or not.
3 months?
3 months.
Oh,
and so
goodness.
I didn't want to throw the books away because what if I needed them? And I mean, there was like this many books. Jeez. And so they were on my nightstand like for months because every night I would study. And after I finished the exam, I put them in a closet. And I was like, oh, I hope I never have to take those out again. So the first thing I did when I found out I passed, I went and I threw those books away. I threw them in the recycle bin. I never wanted to see them again. And so that was really nice because up to that point, I was kind of like in limbo. Mm-hmm. I didn't know what I was going to do. Am I going to have to go through this again? Or am I going to be able to like start practicing law? And so it was just a really nice sense of relief to not have to worry about that exam anymore.
What about celebration? Any celebration dance, screaming, yelling, shouting?
No, I was actually at the hair salon getting my highlights done. Mm-hmm. And so I had my laptop and I kept hitting refresh, right? Because they were going to release the scores and I was sitting there with foils, refresh. And everybody had talked about like how they're going to look for their name, right? And so you can scroll down all the way to like your letter and then look, or you can click on your letter and it would jump to like your last name and then you would see and then scroll. So I decided the way I was going to do it was I was going to click on the letter B, and then when I got to B's, I was going to scroll down because I wanted that moment to last, but not forever, right? And so when they appeared, I clicked on the B, and it took me to the B's. And because my last name is Berdeja, B-E, so it was pretty high up there. And so my brain registered that it was there before I realized it was there. It's kind of hard to explain, but even, like, my brain knew it was there before, like, my eyes, if that makes sense. Yeah. And so I was like, oh, my God, I passed. And up to that point, like, I mean, you really don't know. And I've never failed a test in my life. And so the chances of me failing that test were not very high, but like, you just don't know. And so it was just such a good feeling to see like, oh, I don't have to study anymore.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was
congratulations.
Cool.
I know it was a long time ago, but it's amazing accomplishment and the time it took, and you got it done at the end of the day. So now that you're going to be an attorney, all done, certification, everything, you can easily go to an immigration office, partner up with a firm, and be one of their attorneys, or you can take upon opening your own place. Mm-hmm. What was the talks kind of you and your husband or whoever as far as what decision do you want to do as far as establishing your own practice?
So I always knew that I wanted to have my own practice because I had worked as a paralegal for a long time, and I had worked for a bunch of different types of law firms, small, medium, large. And so I saw a lot of things that worked, that didn't work. And so I thought, like, I could do this. And so I took ideas from like the different places that I worked at. Mm-hmm. I took ideas that I felt were successful, and I kind of just built my own. And I wanted to have like a positive work environment because I remember as a paralegal, I worked jobs that I didn't like.
Super stressful, right?
Yes.
And the people around it don't make it any easier.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And I remember like seeing paralegals having lunch in their cars because like they didn't want to go back in the office. So they would go sit in their cars during lunch and just like be miserable. And so I didn't want that. I wanted to create a positive work environment where people are happy to come to work. And I wanted to also be able to make the decision of, yes, I can help you, without somebody telling me like, hey, help this bad guy. Like, I know he killed someone, but like, help him, Yeah. And so I wanted to be able to make that call of like, yes, we're going to take your case, or no, I'm sorry, we can't take your case. And so that's what I did.
Awesome. For the financing, for the schooling, were you fortunate enough to get some scholarships and find opportunities for yourself, or did you have to resort to some loans?
Both. So I was lucky enough to get some scholarships because I'd always been a good student.
Awesome.
But then, I mean, law school, education in general is so expensive. So yeah, I did have to get student loans.
Okay. And now, as far as your practice, to opening up Gran Plaza, 15 years on one of the buildings on there, was there also some financing that you needed to do, or did you already have some finances ready whenever you were starting your own practice?
I didn't have to take out any money for it, but I did start out very small. Like I remember in the beginning, I didn't have a phone, so I worked off of my cell phone. I had one Dell computer that I used through law school. So we started off really small. And then after a few months, I hired one assistant. And then, as the firm started building its clients and, making a little money, then I would put some of it back in. And so we've just been growing steadily.
During that time, were you already involved in the community as far as, you were a member of quite a bit of boards, the upcoming chair for the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Now you're also on the Hispanic Chamber and different boards. Was that already something that you were working, and when did that come about for you?
I was, in the beginning, I served on one board, but I wasn't very active in the community. And it was mostly because I was focusing on building my practice, figuring out how to run a practice, how to be a lawyer. And so once I felt like I was in a good place with my business, that's when I felt more comfortable stepping away from the office to get a little bit more involved and be able to give back.
Yeah. If you don't follow Rosie on social media, please do. Some of the skits, some of the videos you post are hilarious.
Oh, thank
you
you.
Can kind of sort of give that vibe that's what the vibe is whenever you're working, that is chill. Of course, business is business, and you already have to deal with the hard stuff that you have to do. But, to be able to see at least a couple of videos there, pretty funny. I'm like, oh, that's neat. The wall of shame, the prayer, all that is pretty neat. Some of the ones that I've seen recently. But again,
thank you.
I know you post often. And again, I think it's neat to see it. Okay, now let's talk about... We'll talk a little bit more about the boards and the upcoming chair, but I want to talk about what's going on currently. 2025, June, there's a lot of raids going on with ICE. There's all kinds of uncertainty going on. There's a lot of misinformation in general. I know that for you, before we even start, is have a plan. I don't know if you have anything in your website or anything. I would love if you have something that I can put on the description, but can you kind of sort of tell us the rights for immigrants? People that are citizens, they're talking about removing your citizenship, whatever, and everything else that's going on. And one of the things that I want you to touch on is I don't feel like a lot of these individuals doing the work, their defense is not going to be, I was just doing my job at the end of the day. There's going to be some consequences for them individuals as well. Can you tell me a little bit about what's going on now?
You mean consequences for who?
For the ICE agents and all the ones that actually are borderline, that you can see on the videos that are violating your rights, your human rights.
Oh, I hope there will be consequences because they're doing a lot of things that aren't right. I mean, you're seeing these videos where these unmarked vehicles are pulling up and they don't even have license plates and they're wearing masks. You can't even identify. And it's creating chaos because are they really working under ICE, or are these just, bounty hunters that decided that they were going to, help make America great again? We don't know. And so it is definitely a scary time. And I hope that at the end of the day that there are consequences because there are a lot of laws that are being broken right now.
Okay. So let's start with the rights for immigrants. What is your rights as an immigrant? First of all, let's start with the plan, because I love the way that you had a plan together. So talk about that, and then talk about the rights for immigrants.
So one of the things that I tell the families that I meet with, it's in everybody who asks me, even employers, you have to have a plan, and you have to communicate that plan with your employees or with your families, whoever's in your circle. If, dad gets picked up one day and doesn't come home, what do you do? I recommend that you have an immigration lawyer's number on hand. Maybe even go do a consultation with them now so that they can help you have a plan. If you decide that, if dad gets deported and mom decides she's going to go with him, what's going to happen to the house, right? Because even though people are undocumented, they're still allowed to own homes, and they do own homes. They do own vehicles. They do have bank accounts. So you got to make sure that you have a plan on what's going to happen to those things. If you're outside the U.S. and you need to sell your house, how are you going to do that from over there? And so those are all things that you need to think through and make sure that you have all the right paperwork in place so that if that happens, it's going to be a lot smoother. Also, you have to have a plan if you have little ones in school. If for whatever reason you're not going to make it to pick them up, who's going to step in? You got to make sure that you have that hammered down because it could happen at any moment. Yeah,
those names from the school of the people that's going to pick it up, because the school won't release the kid if your name is not in there. Those things, power of attorneys and things like that, that will give you power to somebody to sign over for whatever sale you're doing, things like that. So awesome. Now, as far as the actual rights, whenever you get pulled over, what is your recommendation for people to do if you do get, picked up by ICE and even citizens that are getting questioned just because you look brown nowadays?
Right. So under current immigration law, if you're undocumented and you've been here more than 10 years and you have children, a spouse, or parents that are either lawful permanent residents or U.S. citizens, you have the option of fighting deportation. And so just because ICE picks you up doesn't mean necessarily that you're going to get deported right then and there. It also doesn't mean that you have to sign voluntary departure. If you've been here more than 10 years and you have those qualifying relatives, children, spouse, or parents, you have the option of fighting removal. And so you just need to communicate that to immigration. Nope, I've been here 15, 20 years. I have my little ones. I have my wife. They depend on me. I don't want to leave. I want to see a judge. And then at that point, they may let you out on bond. If they don't, that's okay. You hire an immigration lawyer and they can request a bond hearing. And then if you get out, you are allowed to be here to fight that deportation. And so you would work with your attorney to come up with a strategy and be able to present your case before an immigration judge. And with the current case backlog in immigration court, you could be fighting for years. And you may end up having to leave. You may not, who knows? But during that time that you're waiting for that opportunity to present your case, you can have a plan. So what happens if I do have to leave? Let me sell my house. Let me shut down my business. Let me start building a home in my country so that when we arrive, we'll have something there. So you'll have the time, instead of abruptly having to leave, now you have the time to work towards that.
Gotcha. There's I don't understand why those ICE agents got cameras following them around. It's crazy to me. But maybe there's a reason why we've seen some people picked up and before you know it, get taken away. And that's probably because they have less than 10 years, probably about 2 years probably?
Yeah, so there's a section of immigration law called expedited removal, where if you've been here less than 2 years, you could be subject to expedited removal where they deport you immediately.
Without due process.
Without due process, without being able to see a judge, without being able to present any form of relief against deportation. And so from what I hear, they have quotas to meet. And so picking up these people that have been here less than 2 years are easy to find. Because a lot of them came in by turning themselves in at the border and asking to be let in. And they expressed a fear of going back to their country. So the country allowed them in. And when they allowed him in, they put certain conditions. Either you're going to have an ankle monitor, or you're going to have to check in ever so often with ICE to make sure you don't disappear. We're going to have to make sure we know where you're staying. And so we've known where these people are. And so when they're wanting to get these numbers, these high numbers, they can go find them easily.
Even whenever they go and do the right thing, right? Mm-hmm. Because they have a date, they have the appointment with the attorney, the judge that they have to go visit.
Correct.
And if they're within the 2-year time frame, then
yep, and that's what's been happening.
Okay, what about a citizen, straight up citizen, that gets picked up by immigration and questioned for whatever reason? What are your rights? To my understanding, ICE has no authority whatsoever for a citizen at all, whatsoever, not even question it. I guess you can answer if you wanted to, but if I'm a citizen is not enough, what do you recommend? Or what do you suggest? Or however you want to legally.
What's going to have to happen is we're going to have to see more lawsuits being filed because these laws are being violated. I mean, we're seeing it because nowadays, because of social media, we're able to see a lot of things that are happening and they're being caught on video. And unless there's consequences, they're not going to change. And so when things like that happen, we're going to have brave individuals step up and file lawsuits because their civil rights are being violated.
Yeah, I think I misspoke earlier when I said legally. You were just literally telling me what one should do. Is there any attorneys like yourself and any other ones in the community that are taking upon themselves to start filing some class action lawsuits or lawsuits in general to show that we're serious about the people that are actually citizens here? Their rights are being violated. They're being terrorized.
I don't know any personally here, but I'm certain there's organizations that are putting all that data together to take action. And so I can find that information for you and
Absolutely.
share it with you.
If you can send me the link so I can put it in there, people can find it on the description. Now, I seen a video of a gentleman talking about, I think he said he was an attorney, social media. So I don't know if it's true or not. But he was saying that they were pressuring the people to sign the voluntary. They were like literally 2-3 days in a row in the dark and cold floors, cold as heck. And every so often, like, you're not gonna sign, and then come back the next day, you're not gonna sign for like 48 hours to try to get them to sign and break. What would you say? Should they sign, or if they have the 10 years, or should they just get an attorney and wait their time, even though they're going through those literally torture that they're putting them through?
And so, just so you know, that's always been the case, right? Like, they're always trying to pressure them to sign. And I've heard things like, well, if you want a bond, the bond is going to be like $30,000. Does your wife have $30,000? And so, of course, the husband is like, man, I don't want to put that burden on my wife. Like, $30,000, that's a lot of money. Where is she going to come up with it? No, pues mejor firmo.
So all these are tactics.
So, yes. And so that happens a lot, which is why it's important to meet with an attorney now so that they can be aware. And that way, when they find themselves in this situation, hopefully they won't. But if they do, they don't get caught off guard and fall for these tactics.
Yeah, I seen a video of somebody picking up ICE with a camera behind a couple of gentlemen filming the whole thing that's going on. I'm like, why you have cameras? That's like not part of your job. Why do you want to document this part? Why do you want to have footage of that, putting that gentleman into the... And it just seems so weird that they are filming the things that they're doing.
Times. It's weird times.
Some very strange times.
Yeah.
So I hope there is lawsuits. As I mentioned earlier, I kind of sort of went through the rabbit hole of people that have done their job and try to use that as a defense for whenever they get... Because you can still have civil lawsuits, even though you're just doing your job. If they happen to find out who it is and you violated somebody's right, you still have... Somebody can still take it upon themselves to sue you personally, regardless of your job, because that's not a defense enough. And, try to get something out of you because you were just doing your job. I hope you're saving your money for that, because if anybody's identified, I feel like I got my rights violated and I know who you are, I'm going to move forward with a lawsuit.
Yeah, no, and you should, for sure. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We still have a little bit of time But I appreciate that information in general. Any other thoughts, any other things that you want to express in regards to this times in general for the people, so they can be ready, prepared, so they can have, some more knowledge as to what can they do?
I'm going to tell you what I tell all my clients. Pórtense bien. Right now is not the time to be breaking the law. It's not the time to be, having a couple beers and then driving. It's not the time to be experimenting with drugs. It's not the time to be arguing really loud with your spouse and the neighbor's going to call the cops. If you get arrested, ICE is going to get involved. And so my advice is you got to follow the law. You got to be good. Do not do anything that's going to draw attention to you. Don't drive with expired tags. Make sure that, you don't do anything while you're driving to get pulled over. No speeding. If you don't have a license, but your spouse does, let your spouse drive. So do everything you can so that you don't draw negative attention to yourself. Because if you get arrested, that chances that ICE is going to come and you're going to have an immigration hold are high. And so we don't want you in that situation.
What are your thoughts about this alligator Alcatraz thing that they have?
Oh, it's a disgrace.
It's a disgrace, right?
It's just...
As Mexicano, I trying to find the humor and stuff, and I've seen the memes of...
I saw that too. Yeah.
Isn't that true, though? We'll find a way to... Like, how can I say it? I came here illegally. I was a kid. I broke all the laws. Fine. Literally a misdemeanor, right? Fine. We pay fines. My dad paid fines to get us right. I went and fought for this country, and I became a citizen. And I just don't feel like even all that, just the way that I look, wouldn't matter to these agents. Which again, you're still gonna be held accountable if you're doing the wrong thing. To look at me and not be able to question me if I'm American or not, even though I fought for this country.
It's just so sad.
And it's just so sad. And even the places itself, the optics is what they want to generate to create panic for our people, which again, si te portas bien, if you act right, you have nothing to worry about. Move carefully, and you really don't. Of course, this will pass because, like you said, these tactics are not new. They've been doing this forever and a day. We might not hear about it now, but now there's more social media, so we get to hear those stories that they are doing this. But they've been doing it forever and a day.
Yeah.
They've been picking up, my dad was telling me about in the 90s, they were picking people up all the time. So this is not new. It's just sad that people, again, citizens and stuff, because you are brown, because it's crazy that that's the thing that they're looking for, even though literally a güerito from Australia could be somebody that's an immigrant that is illegal also, or from Asia, and we're the ones. Yeah. So I just feel like we are becoming the majority, and that just may be a conspiracy, but I just feel like we're becoming more of a force, especially with entrepreneurship, and they have to slow us down some way somehow. Yeah, and that's the end game. That's what they're trying to do, and we just gotta not let them. I don't know if you saw recently, in Texas, they're ending in-state tuition for undocumented students. And it's like, to have an educated immigrant is such a threat. So let's find a way so that they don't get an education. And it's really sad. And it's going to discourage a lot of individuals, a lot of dreamers from pursuing higher education. Because of that, because now they won't be able to afford it. And so we are becoming the majority. And the more we grow and the more we have to give to this country, the bigger threat we are. Do you think down in your core somewhere you really believe that certain individuals see it that way, and that's really the reason why they're trying to slow it down? Absolutely. Okay. Well, fortunately, we got stories like yourself that even though took you some time, but you still persistence over time, being disciplined in your time, you were able to prevail, and now you have a practice of 15 years, which is amazing. Thank you. You know what I mean? So it's great. And it's great that you're helping the immigrant community as well as all the work that you do out in the community. Thank you. Let's talk about those accomplishments, because you've been celebrated in different places all the time. You ever get tired of it? Keep them coming.
So the girls at my office are a little frustrated with me because
really?
they're running out of wall.
Oh my goodness.
On where to hang like my awards, and it's kind of become a joke at the office, like whenever a new award arrives.
That's funny. What was the biggest recognition you have so far? Because I know you have so many of them. Can you name me a few of them that you received?
So Texas A&M School of Law recognized me a couple years ago as for my work in the community, Community Advocate Alumni Award.
Awesome.
And to me, that was just such a huge honor because A&M School of Law is such a prestigious school, and there's so many attorneys that they graduate every year.
Right.
And for them to recognize me as like, hey, you're doing good. We see you. We see the work that you're doing, and we're proud of you. To me, that was a huge accomplishment because there's so many lawyers that have come from that school that are doing wonderful work. And so just to be recognized is a huge deal for me.
Yeah, amazing. Congrats. Well deserved, by the way.
Thank you.
She said earlier, why you picked me for the podcast? Like, what? Oh my goodness, are you serious? I'm like, a whole freaking novela or a movie of your life, of all the work you're doing, and it's amazing that you continue. Now, for you, what do you think here in the future do you see your law firm? Where do you kind of sort of see? Do you have anything in mind? Do you want to expand, grow, or other offices that you want to open up? Anything in mind right now?
So I just want to keep doing what I'm doing for as long as I can and help as many people as I can. You know, my office has been around for 15 years. It's been growing, I feel, like pretty steadily. I don't have big ambition to, you know, have the biggest law firm or open up 10 offices. No. Like, my motivation is helping people and doing good work. And sometimes in order to do that good work, you have to stay small. And so right now, we're doing good work. We're at a good place. We're a good size. And I just want to be able to do what we're doing now for as long as we can.
Was the location important for you to be at the Grand Plaza, and why?
Well, to be honest with you, as being a new lawyer, fresh out of law school.
Affordability?
No, it was the tacos.
Ah.
Like, I wanted to be in a place where I could eat good food.
Affordability.
You know, like,
Tacos
I'm driven by food, which, by the way, Fiesta right there by the Gran Plaza, every Tuesday they have $1 tacos. So every Tuesday, that's where I have lunch. But you know, as a teenager, my motivation was like, I got to go to school so I can eat. And so I thought, oh, that place has a lot of really good restaurants. And then I thought, oh, and it's right in the middle of like the Hispanic area. So that will work out. And so that was secondary, but it's worked out. I love that location. I love being there with the Gran Plaza. It's my favorite mall. Whenever I need a birthday gift, I always pop down there and shop. A lot of my outfits come from there, especially the Western ones. So I just love the culture and the area. And La Gran Plaza is always doing amazing things for the community, and I just love being a part of that.
Yeah. I mean, affordability and the tacos, the food itself in general, you know, and like literally, you said it's right there in the community. All the Mexicanos in there, Latinos are right there.
Yeah.
So, you know, the people that you're serving, and, you know, do you usually just do Latinos, or is there other?
No, I mean, I have clients from all over the world.
Yeah. That's what people don't understand, that there's people from all over the world, they're immigrants, they're willing to, they're needing your services because there is immigrants from all over the world, not just us Mexicanos or Latinos. Correct. It's just not it.
Yeah.
Okay, before I let you go, let me know all your social media. One last question. Incoming chair, 2026, 2027, correct? Or 27, 28?
27, 28.
Okay, so is that like a committee that decides to vote and pick you, or how does that work for you?
Yeah, there's a nominating committee, and there's a process, and I got elected last year.
Okay. What made you want to be involved with the Hispanic Chamber, and why is it important for you to be one of the ones? I don't know if they selected you, you put your name in and they go through the process, or they approach you, it's like, hey, we would love you to be the chair. Do you want to see how it goes?
So I had to express an interest to be considered. They don't just say, hey, you're up, or, and then you have to do it. They don't volunteer you.
Gotcha.
And so part of my involvement, I really got involved with the chamber during COVID because I was just so impressed with the chamber's response to COVID. Immediately, they were like putting out information, like doing everything they could to support the small businesses, making sure that they kept things running even though everything was shutting down.
Right.
Their response was amazing. I fell in love with the chamber during that time, and I wanted to be a part of that, be part of the solution. What can I do to help? But I've always been a fan of small business. As an immigration attorney, I represent a lot of clients who have no choice but to start their own business, whether it's because, they're immigrants and don't speak English, or whether because their credentials in their country don't transfer here. So even though they were like professors or doctors or lawyers, they can't do that here.
Right.
And so they start businesses. And to me, it's always so impressive to see them do that and be brave because, they don't have capital. They don't know how to do a business plan. And so I feel like my world and the chamber world, like they kind of mesh because of that.
Yeah.
And so I have a passion for helping these small businesses bring their visions to life and be part of helping them get the resources and the tools and the education they need in order to thrive. And so I just love it. I love being able to help people do that and achieve their goals.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
I've been with them, I think, going on a year and some change now. I'm one of the ambassadors, so you were an ambassador too.
I was an ambassador.
Yeah, so whatever she said, exactly what they're doing. They're doing amazing work. They supported the entrepreneurs. They have so many programs. They have resources. They're out in the community. They have one of the biggest networking coffee with the chamber there is here in the Metroplex area. So it's amazing.
Yeah, they're doing good work, and I'm so honored to be a part of it.
Yeah. So now, incoming chair, what do you feel like? How does that feel for you? Are you excited?
I'm
excited.
No, I'm very excited. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the work we're doing now. Yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward. And we have a new president, Erica Garza. Man, she brings so much energy and fresh ideas, and it's great. It's just we're at a very good place right now, and I'm really excited to see what we're going to accomplish in the next few years.
Awesome. Before I let you go, all your social media, where can people find you, your law firm, the Instagram, Facebook, whatever you have?
I'm very easy to find. It's my law firm Instagram is @Berdeja Law, and my personal Facebook is Rosa María Berdeja. LinkedIn is also Rosa María Berdeja. So you just Google me and you're going to find all my business. Too much, my husband would say, but yeah, I'm very easy to find.
He gets put on the spot sometimes some of the videos.
He does, but he's such a good sport.
Yes, he is. Like, he doesn't know that his face is going to be super red here in a few minutes.
Oh my goodness, I love doing it. I have an album on my phone.
Really?
And I call it Red Face. And it's just picture after picture of him with red cheeks, because when he gets embarrassed, he turns beet red. And I love doing that to him. It's so funny.
You have events coming up? Any events that you have coming up? I don't know if you host anything, but I know you're part of Sonidos. This is going to be releasing after the Sonidos for July, but there's another Sonidos in September. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, we do have a Sonidos in September. Sonidos is a 3-part concert series that I'm proud to sponsor this year. I'm presenting sponsor. It's in the historic Northside District in Marine Park, and it's a free event for the whole family. We have a mercado set up with local businesses that are selling their goods. We bring out food trucks. We have music. It's a great family event. I look forward to it every year. It's just so much fun to come out and, lay out a blanket, have a picnic with your family, and enjoy some music. The one in September, we're having a Selena theme. So it's going to be Selena music. So I'm really looking forward to that, because who doesn't love Selena?
Yes. I don't know if y'all know this, but she performed there in 1991 and 93.
She did. Yeah.
And that's the reason why a lot of the people in the neighborhood remember some of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah. And lowriders too, by the way. Usually there's so few lowriders that post up.
The food is great.
Food is amazing too, and everything. So shout out to you for being a sponsor.
I'm so honored to do it.
That's amazing. Okay. Any saludos, shout outs, any saludos do you have for anybody?
I wasn't prepared for that. But
saludos.
I want to say hi to my brother Juan. Sorry to spill all your business on here. I do want to shout out,
bro.
Yeah, and I do want
camera's right there.
Yeah, and I do want to say a shout out to the Fort Worth Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. I'm so honored to be a part of that organization and the good work that we're doing and that we're going to continue to do, and keep empowering our small businesses and our Hispanic community.
Yeah, that's where we connected. We wouldn't be here because of it. And there's been a few other people that have been, but you were here, and that's how we got to connect. And it works. It really works when you show up to one of those events, networking events, especially with the chamber. The connection, I don't know, it's just unspoken. You already know what's up, and it just keeps it going. So it's neat. What is an important lesson that you learned about law that you would tell your younger self that will help somebody else out? What would that be?
Read it. Read the law. Make sure you understand it. And even when you think you understand it, the person sitting next to you might read it and understand it different. So there's room for interpretation, and which is a good thing because it allows attorneys to get creative with their arguments and better advocate for their clients. So definitely read it and read it again. Awesome.
Any of those shows are fairly accurate that you see on TV or movies regarding law? Because they make it so needy over here.
Oh, they're horrible. I'm like that annoying person that's like, that's not how they do it. But I'm sure doctors, when they're watching ER and those shows, they're like,
what are you doing? He would have died by now.
Yeah.
He would have gone to jail for 30 years. What are you doing?
Yep, exactly.
That's hilarious. Okay, this one's a little deeper. I hope you're okay with it. I normally throughout my day, sometime I remind myself I'm not immortal, I am mortal, and I will die one day. And I heard it one day from a gentleman, and I really liked it. And it kind of helps me remember that's kind of real life, right? Not to terrorize me, scare me, anything like that, or bring bad juju, but it's a reality in life. We're not here forever. With that, I wish you a very, very long, prosperous life. After everything's said and done, what do you want people to think and feel about your life?
So I want my kids to look back and think, man, Mom was a good person. She did a lot. She did good things. So that's how I want my kids to remember me. I want my husband to think, wow, I could never do better than Rosie. I better stay single the rest of my life. But for the community, I just want them to know that I cared. Yeah, because I do. I care about everybody that walks in that chamber door, whether it's a single person wanting to, sell something out of their front door or out of their car, or the bigger businesses. I want them to know that I care about their success. I care about their stories. I care about their dreams and their goals. And I feel that way about, the entire community, everybody that's a part of it.
Yeah. I mean, and you see it when you move out and about, when you're in the networking events, when I get to see you, when I get to interact with you, it's just the same way. I feel it whenever you're helping, when you're involved, when you either be the pitch competition or this event or that event, and you're supporting. It's it shows. And then not only that, but you show up.
Yeah.
You're not at the house in social media talking about it. You're actually there witnessing what's happening, and that's amazing. And I'm so glad that you're here.
In Dallas.
My apologies a million times for having you come over here and not disclose that information immediately. It didn't dawn on me all the way, but I don't know. I don't know why you would have known that I was in Dallas. I don't know. I just thought everybody knows. But anyways.
They will now.
I appreciate you so much. Well, you did start in Dallas, though. As far as your career.
Yes,
so,
I sure did.
Full circle. Let's just call it full circle. But I wanted to talk to you so much because I want to talk to an attorney, especially right now of everything that's going on. You know, you gave us a little bit, and of course there's a whole lot more, but minimum, I hope that people are able to take away something helpful, useful, and inspiring for your story and everything that you've been doing. Even after, let's say, you were limited and one time when you were younger to all of a sudden now you just keep moving forward. And not only that, but with the purpose of helping the community out, and it really shows. And that's the reason why I wanted to have a conversation with you and get the insights about the funny videos that you post, because it's hilarious. But in general, I just feel like you're an amazing person, and without a shadow of a doubt, you're definitely a global Latin factor. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate it. You're amazing. Keep doing what you're doing, and I love seeing you out there. All the things you're doing, I'm really impressed, and I'm really proud of you.
Before I let you go, you have something coming up here. I forgot on the events. You have a podcast.
I do.
That you got coming up.
I do. I'm so excited about it. We're still in production. We're hoping it will kick off in Hispanic Heritage Month. It is called Chisme Culture, El Podcast. And it's just going to be a fun, lighthearted podcast that focuses on topics that are unique to the Hispanic community. And so we're going to have a lot of fun, I'm hoping. And so, like I said, we're still working on it. We're in production. We're filming this summer, and then we're going to launch it for Hispanic Heritage Month.
Can't wait to see it.
Can't
wait to tune in.
You'll have to come visit.
If you already have the YouTube channels and everything, please let us put it in already so that way we can start getting the numbers up.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
You.
This was another episode of the Global Latin Factor podcast. Remember to subscribe right now. Why? You have nothing to lose and amazing things to gain, such as this amazing story. Get inspired today. And remember, we are just like you. We are people. We are humans. We are the spice and flavor in this melting pot that it is the world. Till next time.